Hello everybody, my name is Derek Fastola. This is the Ranney News Network and you're watching the weekly quarantine show brought to you by Student Council. The only show that brings you good vibes every week of quarantine. We have a very eventful episode today and lots of good news to cover. This week, Ranney opened up online classes where we saw all members of the Ranney community, young and old, learning the ways of new technology. It took some getting used to, but we did see lots of smiles, thumbs up, and gratitude while being reunited with our Ranney family. Before we get started today, let's hear from our professional of the week, who will be talking about the mathematics behind predicting the transmission of COVID-19 virus. Ranney School senior, computer science specialist, Stanford University admit, but most importantly, my best friend, Rohan Zakand. Rohan, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you model the growth of this virus in mathematical terms?
Well, we can plot all of the cases on an XY graph over time and visualize what that curve looks like. From this visual representation, the data draws out a clear exponential curve. This virus is an exponential curve because there's human-to-human transmission. People who are infected with the virus can spread it to other people. As you can see here, in an exponential curve, the total number of cases on a certain day is being multiplied, which is why the virus spreads so fast.
Okay, so my final question is, obviously experts are predicting that the peak will be in X amount of days. How, using these models, are they able to predict when that curve is going to start flattening and when we're going to reach our peak of the virus?
Well, in real life, these exponential models don't exactly occur. Eventually, there's some point where the curve starts leveling out. Here is something called a logistic curve, which is essentially what the exponential curve, as you saw earlier, will eventually look like in real life. At first, the exponential and logistic curves are essentially indistinguishable, whereas the difference with the logistic curve is that it eventually starts to level out. The line at which the curve starts to level out is known as the carrying capacity, which is essentially the point in which a lot of the population has already been affected with the virus, so it doesn't have much more people to infect. We can try to estimate when this carrying capacity will be reached by analyzing something called a point of inflection on the logistic curve. The inflection point will be reached when the growth factor is equal to 1. At this point, we can now multiply the total amount of cases at the inflection point by 2. This new number will give us an estimate as to how many coronavirus cases will occur worldwide at the end of the virus course.
Perfect, Rohan. Thanks so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure, buddy.
Thank you, Derek. I hope that the Ranney community can learn a little bit more now about the mathematical intuition about the course of this virus.
I'm sure we did. Thanks so much, Rohan. Wow, great guy, smart kid. What a pleasure it is having him on the show. Which brings me to my next segment. As you guys know, we dedicate this show to creating positivity during an uncertain time for the world. That's why when I heard this next story from our next two guests, I knew I had to feature it on our show for a new segment called Community Spotlight. Our next two guests raised money and supplies for people dealing with the dreaded COVID-19 virus. Although it was two separate fundraisers, they effectively had a very strong message and a very strong impact. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to welcome Frank Yang and Emerald Liu to our show from their homes in New Jersey and China. Emerald, Frank, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Derek. How are you doing?
Yes, Derek.
So, Emerald, let's start with you. Let's talk about your fundraiser first. How much money did you actually raise, and who was it that you raised the money for?
Okay, so basically we organized a donation for hospitals in Wuhan. We successfully raised over $2,000 in 2 weeks. And with the funds, we bought over 190 masks and 39 boxes of gloves for the doctors and nurses in Wuhan.
Wow, that is so amazing. So take me through, the process of how you actually raised the money and, what was the process of making this all happen?
So it was the Chinese New Year night, and I was FaceTiming my family in China. I saw how different their life was on such a special day that everyone's supposed to be happy, and I wanted to help. A big shout out to Leo, Comping, Sophia, Thea, and Miss Brown who helped it. and all the people that generously donate to us.
That is amazing, Emerald. So now let's transition into Frank. Frank, from what I understand, you raised supplies, although a little bit different from Emerald's, another great thing. So tell me about how many supplies you raised, who you actually gave these supplies to, and how did you get these supplies?
So, when the coronavirus situation was getting worse in the US, my parents got pretty concerned with my safety. So they mailed a lot of masks, gloves, and other equipment from China to the US. But I can't use like hundreds of masks and gloves myself. And keeping the rest in this time of crisis just makes me feel a little bit unethical. So I contacted with Miss Barone and let her know that I have these equipment that I'm willing to donate. And Miss Barone soon connected me with Bayshore Medical Center, and they expressed their gratitude towards my donation. But unfortunately, I didn't receive any follow-up information regarding how I'm going to get the supplies to the hospital, so that I couldn't really get the supplies there. Perhaps I was forgotten because they're too busy arranging things and treating patients since it's the beginning stage of the pandemic. But I still have the supplies and I'm a host family and will donate them if any hospitals are in need and contact me.
That is so unbelievable, guys. So my final question is a little bit for both of you guys. How can other members of the Ranney community, like myself, get involved in what you guys are doing and really help out the cause?
The donation is already ended, but I want to say that everyone please just be careful and stay healthy. Like wear a mask when going outside. That's the best way of helping us, I guess. And do some exercise and keep the body strong. Yeah.
I would say that if you have spare equipment, donate to the closest hospital or to the regions where the equipment are needed the most, such as like the New York City or somewhere else. But there is not that much that we could do as high schoolers in terms of stopping the virus or treating the virus. But we what we can do is to keep practicing social distancing, keep washing our hands, and support each other, especially the nurses and doctors who are risking their health and lives to stop the coronavirus.
Wow, you guys are amazing. You are 100% what this show stands for and totally what the Ranney community is all about. And for that, I thank you guys. I commend you. And it was my absolute honor to have you guys on the show today. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you. And I want to say, I want to give a best wish to Mr. Gill. I really hope he will get better soon.
Now let's go to Jilly for this week's Challenge of the Week.
Thanks, Derek. So this week's challenge is what is the most creative thing you've done during quarantine? Well, let's go to our honorable mentions. First, we have Tori Galario, and she made a domino tower. Here's a picture. We have Lily Calf, and she designed her own cow shoes. That's pretty cool. Abigail Schaff was making some balloon animals. Here's a picture of one of them. Claire Folletta adopted a puppy.
Hey guys, it's Claire, and the most creative and exciting and rewarding thing I've done during quarantine is decide to foster. And this is Dash. He's named after Dash from The Incredibles. He was rescued from North Carolina, but we were able to find him an amazing home with three little girls that he gets to grow up with, and yeah.
Grace Bray raised a garden. And we have a teacher submission. Not just students have to submit into these competitions. Dr. Martone made slime with her kids. All right, well, let's go back to Derek to hear the top three and the winner. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks so much, Jilly. And now for our winners. This week's mystery prize is a $25 gift card, but here are the top three. In third place, we have Kiri Patient, who did a very creative thing and actually made clothes out of, old things that she wasn't using anymore, which is so cool.
This piece I call Quarantine Coma because yes, it is in fact made out of a bedsheet, and that god-awful waistband I am truly sorry for. I just learned how to sew, and it was very scary and very hard. Now this shirt I actually really like, because I didn't have to do much work to it, but it's really cute. So it was made out of this terrible romper, but then I made it into something really cute that I can wear forever. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy my modeling skills.
In second place, we have Eva Gulario, who did a song rewrite of one of her favorite songs, Ocean Eyes.
Sitting there, never knew that you would impact my life. Talk to you, I think that boy seems nice. Ever since then, you've had a spot in my heart, a spot in my heart.
And in first place, our winner of our $25 gift card. As you guys know, I do have a soft spot for school spirit. That's why when I saw these Panther pancakes from Addie Basile, I knew they were going to be the winner. Let's take a look.
Oh, hey everyone. I'm just about to make my famous Panther pancakes. Come with me. Trust me, I've perfected this recipe over 13 days of quarantine. Start out with a big bowl, 1.5 cups of flour, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon white sugar, 1.25 cup milk. So do not forget to mix before you put the milk in. 1 egg. 3 tablespoons butter. Make sure it's melted. Mix it really well. Select a pan. Wait until it's hot. When it has bubbles and it looks dry on the sides, flip it. Okay, well, before I show you them, I just want to say that today's batch was extra salty. And this took me way too long. Here's the final product.
Thank you, Addie. Congratulations. And next week's challenge is going to be inspired by Addie's Panther pancakes as we're doing best dish or recipe. Thanks to everyone for submitting, and good luck for next week's mystery prize. Thanks so much for watching again this week, guys. Hope you guys are enjoying this, these skits that we're doing. And, as always, let's stay united as a community because we're going to get through this together. See you guys. Peace. And we'll see you next week.